We have a very special award to share today, and I'd like to invite Commissioner James Condon to present this. James has been a Minister of the Salvation Army for more than 53 years, serving in a variety of leadership roles in Australia, PNG and the UK. In 2011, he was appointed Commissioner for the Australian Eastern Territory, which covers the states of New South Wales and Queensland, as well as the ACT. As Hilton mentioned, he did retire in 2016, but has continued this service to God in many ways, including his role as the Pastoral Care Coordinator for the local congregation of the Salvos in Caloundra. And importantly, he is also part of the advisory board for the Hunter and Central Coast. Would you please now make welcome James Condon.
Thank you, Natasha, and thank you for your welcome. It's great to be sharing with you again this afternoon here in Newcastle on this important occasion, the launch of the Red Shield Appeal for 2024. Now, I've had the privilege this afternoon of presenting the Others Award. Now, some of you may be thinking, what is that? This award is given to an organisation, a trust, a foundation that goes above and beyond, or to put it another way, who excels in their giving. William Booth, Hilton, that's right, William Booth was the founder of the Salvation Army, 1865 in the East End of London. And in 1880, not many years later, the Salvation Army came to Australia and commenced in Adelaide. William Booth was sending a message to the troops around the world, and the year was 1908. And one of the modes of communication was something called telegrams. Now, I'm old enough to remember them. Some of you are nodding. Telegrams. But they were costly in 1908, and the Salvation Army has always been challenged to find the resources to fund its mission. And he was worried and concerned about using too many words on the telegram that he wanted to send as a Christmas greeting to the troops around the world. And so he sent a telegram with one word, and the word was others. Others. So the Salvation Army in Australia now presents at such functions as this, as it did last Friday morning in Brisbane when I was there, the Others Award. I want to tell a quick story in introducing the recipients today. It came to mind as I prepared for today. A story from many years ago. My wife and I were Salvation Army officers, and coming up to Christmas, one of the challenges for the Salvation Army is the people out there who have great needs that don't ask for help. How do you find them? So the idea came to me that I was going to put an ad in the local newspaper and on radio, and we called it Operation Happy Christmas. And the ad simply said, if you know someone, a neighbour, a friend or relative in need this Christmas, contact the Salvation Army. And on Christmas Eve at 6 p.m, someone phoned and said, there's a family living in our cul-de-sac who have nothing for Christmas. Can you help? So I loaded up the ute that I'd been using for weeks now, distributing food, hampers and toys. And I went to this address given to me in the cul-de-sac. It was one of those houses where you open the front door and you see full view of the lounge room. Here I was standing in my Salvation Army uniform with a big box of goodies. The lady came to the door and looked at me, and I could see in the corner of the lounge room a Christmas tree, and there were no toys or gifts under the tree. I handed over the box of food, and I went back to the ute and got the toys. For 46 years here in Newcastle, Bikers for Kids have been organising the Newcastle Toy Run. 46 years. It started with 20 bikes, and now here locally 14,000 take part in the Bikers Toy Run. And yes, in another era, 1998 to 2000, I was the divisional commander based here in Newcastle. I saw firsthand 20 bikes 46 years ago on a toy run, now 14,000, an incredible achievement. And it's a lifeline for the Salvation Army. Indeed, it is the cornerstone of the Christmas efforts of the Salvation Army in the Hunter, the Bikers Toy Run. I remember it well, you know it well. And I want to say that the Salvation Army today expresses its deepest gratitude to Bikers for Kids on behalf of all the families, all the children, 10 times 10,000 times 10,000 in those 46 years, that kids have a smile put on their face because of what you've done. So Stephen Meek and Darren Young, I invite you to come to the stage as I present to you today this very distinguished award known as the Others Award, and as you accept the award on behalf of Bikers for Kids here in Newcastle and the Hunter.
Briefly, I suppose.
His words were magic. Thank you very much. Magic. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Just, wow. On behalf of myself and my committee, it's been a lot of dedication. A lot of people don't realise how much goes into one of these events. It's 11 months in planning to get this up and running. Like you said, back in '78, it was just a handful of bike riders. And we reached out to Woodlands Boy Home back in the day then. A few years later, the Woodlands Boys Home had moved on, so we needed to find somewhere else to disperse the toys and gifts through. My father, back in those days, Big John, was at hand for that, so he was ringing up a lot of charity groups. The charity groups were all assigned, as soon as they found out we were bike riders, they put us under the same thing as bikies, outlaws. So a lot of them said, sorry, we can't associate with that sort of thing. So we started off with the thing when he rung up, he was saying, okay, we're bikies, or bike riders, bikers, such and such. Came across the Salvation Army to Merv Hopper. Merv Hopper answered the phone and Dad started off with the same thing as we're bike riders, and he said, so? He said, well, I just want to, we're trying to give out presents, we do a toy run. He said, come in, open arms, bring it on. So that started in 1982. Since then, we've been with our Salvation Army ever since, and this year, 47 annual run this year, so that's how we've been running through, and the association with Salvation Army is going to continue forever as long as we're running the shows. So thank you very much for this award, we really do appreciate it. My committee, and I accept this not on behalf of myself and the committee and Bikers for Kids Newcastle Toy Run, but also the general public. Without the motorcycle riders and all that we have here in Newcastle and their big hearts, none of this would be happening anyway. So it's to everyone that I received this, so thank you very much for this, Tristan. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Thank you.